It was a rainy Thursday evening in Lagos, the kind of rain that makes the Okadas vanish and everyone run for shelter under stalls. I was sitting at the back of a quiet cafe in Yaba, sipping cheap coffee and going through a long list of freelance jobs on my cracked phone screen. That's when she walked in, Amanda. Her red braids were tied up, her face calm but unreadable. She sat across from me and didn't smile. "I don't think this is working," she said. I blinked. "What do you mean?" "You're just boring, Dio," she said, looking away. "You don't go out, you don't party. You're always talking about building your future." "I'm tired." The words felt like ice dropped down my back. I couldn't speak. I just nodded and watched her walk away, umbrella already open before she hit the door. I sat there long after the rain stopped. People passed. The waiter cleared my table, but I stayed. She left me because I was boring. And honestly, maybe I was. But that night something in me shifted, quietly, like a match being struck in the dark. After Amanda left, I stopped going out. Not that I went out much before, but now I had no reason at all. I moved back in with my cousin in Surulere. His one-room apartment had peeling paint, a broken fan, and zero privacy. The only good thing was the steady NEPA and that one neighbor with unlocked Wi-Fi. That Wi-Fi saved me. I worked from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. most nights, typing proposals, learning how to code from YouTube videos, and submitting work to international freelance sites. It was slow, frustrating. Most times I got paid late or not at all. One night I saw Amanda's new post on Instagram. She was on a beach in Zanzibar, laughing in a floral dress, wrapped in another guy's arms. That hurt. Bad. But I didn't comment. I didn't message her. I just clicked off the app and opened my laptop. "If I can build something real," I whispered, "maybe, just maybe, this pain won't be for nothing." 3 months later, on a dusty Tuesday afternoon, I got an email. I had just returned from buying bread and pure water when I saw it, a reply from a client in the US. He liked my web design sample. He wanted a full site. Budget? $9,000. I read it 5 times. My hands were shaking. I rushed out, barefoot, screaming like someone had just won a bet. My cousin thought I was going mad. Maybe I was. But after years of hunger, pain, and being overlooked, someone finally saw me, and they were willing to pay. I delivered the project in 2 weeks. He paid in full. Then another client came. And another. I started hiring people. I registered my company. I moved out. And one evening, as I walked into a luxury apartment in Lekki, a message popped up on my phone. "Amanda. Hi, Dio. I saw you on LinkedIn. Wow, you've really changed." I stared at her message for a while. Then I looked up, at the view of the city lights, the hum of success finally ringing in my ears. I didn't reply to Amanda's message, not because I was trying to be proud, but because I didn't know what to say. What do you say to someone who walked out when all you had was a dream? I put my phone down and walked into the kitchen. My chef was prepping jollof rice and grilled chicken for dinner. Just months ago, I was surviving on gari and groundnuts. Now I had staff, savings, and a life I used to only imagine. But deep down, there was a part of me that still remembered her laugh, her scent, her soft hands in mine as we used to walk past the Unilag gate. I sighed. Sometimes the people who leave you also leave behind a wound that money can't heal. That night, I went out to a rooftop bar with a few new friends. The city looked golden under the stars. People took pictures, laughed, toasted. But in the middle of it all, I caught myself checking my phone again. Her message still there, waiting. I turned it off. Some things are better left in the past. A month passed. I was at a tech conference in Abuja, speaking to a crowd of over 200 young people about entrepreneurship and grit. The applause was loud, the handshakes endless. Just as I got back to my hotel, sweaty and tired, my phone buzzed. It was a message from an old mutual friend. "Hey, are you coming to Amanda's wedding next weekend?" My chest tightened. She was getting married? Suddenly memories came rushing back. Her voice, her goodbye, that cafe in Yaba. But now she was walking down the aisle for someone else. I didn't know how to feel. I sat there on the hotel bed, staring at the ceiling fans spinning slowly, round and round. Was it pain? Regret? Relief? I wasn't sure. All I knew was I wasn't the same person she left behind. Against every bit of logic, I said yes. I decided to attend the wedding. I dressed in a simple white agbada, sharp and clean. No bodyguards, no flashy car. I wanted to walk in like a quiet storm. The hall was decorated with gold and ivory. The air smelled of fried rice, sweat, and too much perfume. Music played softly as guests took pictures at the flower wall. And then I saw her, Amanda. She looked beautiful, stunning, just like I remembered, maybe even more. She saw me too. Her smile froze. She whispered something to her bridesmaid, then looked back at me. Our eyes locked. The noise around us faded. For a second, it was just us, two people from a different lifetime. She started walking toward me, and right then, someone called her name loudly from behind. She stopped, turned, and I turned away too, walking toward the door. But I knew she would follow. Outside the hall, the sun had started to set. The sky over Ikeja was burning orange with soft purple clouds drifting like thoughts too heavy to hold. I stood near my car, just breathing. Then I heard the footsteps. I didn't turn. I knew it was her. "Dio," she said quietly. I turned around slowly. She was still in her wedding dress, lace sleeves, soft makeup, eyes wet but not from tears. Not yet. "You really came," she whispered. "I didn't think you would." I nodded. "Neither did I." She looked at me, searching my face like it held all the answers she never asked for. "You look different. You feel different." I gave a small smile. "So do you." For a moment, we just stood there, old memories and unspoken words hanging between us. Then she said it, the thing I never expected. "I made a mistake, leaving you." I felt the air shift when she said those words. "I thought I wanted excitement," she continued, "but all that fun led me nowhere. You were the only person who ever believed in something real." I didn't know what to say. I looked at her, really looked, and saw someone lost between two worlds, the life she chose and the life she left behind. "I used to call you boring," she said, voice cracking. "But you weren't. You were building. I just didn't see it." I took a slow breath. "Amanda, I loved you. I would have given you everything, even the parts I didn't have yet. But you wanted it all too soon." Tears gathered in her eyes now. She reached out, fingers brushing mine. "Is it too late?" I looked at the gold ring on her finger and said nothing, because truthfully, I didn't know. That night, I didn't sleep. I sat on my balcony in Lekki, listening to the waves crash beyond the estate wall. My phone buzzed again. Amanda. 3 missed calls. A message. "Please, just talk to me." I stared at the screen. My heart was torn. A part of me wanted to forget everything and run back to the comfort of what once was. Another part of me, the stronger part, knew I had changed too much to return to yesterday. I had dreams now, plans, a purpose that no longer needed her approval. Just then, a knock came at my door. I wasn't expecting anyone. When I opened it, I froze. It wasn't Amanda. It was someone else. Someone I hadn't seen in years. Someone who once meant everything before Amanda ever came along. Her eyes met mine, full of quiet fire. "Dio, can we talk?" Her name was Kemi. Back in university, before Amanda ever crossed my path, Kemi was my best friend. The girl who shared meat pies with me during lectures. The one who sat with me through all-night library sessions when my laptop died, and I had to start assignments from scratch. We had a spark once, soft, gentle, and honest. But life pulled us apart. She moved abroad. I stayed, broke, and busy chasing survival. And now here she was, standing in my hallway like no time had passed. "Kemi," I breathed. How did you find me?" She smiled slightly. LinkedIn. You've gone viral, Mr. Millionaire. We both laughed awkwardly. It was the kind of laugh that covered up too many questions. I was in town, she said, for a family thing. Then I saw Amanda's wedding pictures, and you in them. I nodded slowly. And I thought, she paused, maybe it's time I stop running from people who actually mattered. We stood there, a little older, a little bruised by life, but still something between us flickered. And that flicker was enough to make me wonder. We talked for hours. Kemi and I sat on the balcony, sipping pineapple juice like we used to back in school, just two souls trying to reconnect. She told me about London, about working 2 jobs, cold weather, and how success felt lonely over there. I told her about my hustle, my pain, my wins, and Amanda. She didn't judge. She just listened. At some point, she touched my hand gently. You know, she said, you're not boring, Dio. You just had a different fire. It burns quietly, but it builds empires. I looked at her, and for the first time in a long time, my heart felt calm. Not racing, not anxious, just at peace. Maybe it was her presence. Maybe it was the way she looked at me like I wasn't a title or a bank balance. Just me. Then my phone rang again. Amanda. I silenced it. Kemi raised an eyebrow but didn't say anything. Somehow we both knew I had a choice to make, one that would change everything. The next morning, I called Amanda. I owed her that much. Closure. She picked up almost immediately. Dio, I didn't think you'd call. I know. There was a long pause. I just need to ask, she said, voice low. Was there ever a chance? Even a small one? I swallowed hard, then said what I had been carrying for so long. There was a chance, Amanda, but you gave it away. You left me when all I had was hope. Now that hope has grown into something bigger, something you never believed in. She didn't speak. I forgive you, I added softly, but I'm not yours anymore. A soft sob echoed on the line. I ended the call. Outside, the sun broke through the clouds, and just then Kemi stepped out onto the balcony, her smile calm and warm. I smiled back, because finally, I was done looking back. Days passed. Peace settled in. Kemi stayed for the weekend. We didn't rush anything. No promises. Just quiet walks, soft music, shared meals, and laughter that reminded me who I used to be before the world told me I wasn't enough. We visited Freedom Park on Sunday. The sun hung low, casting golden light over the old prison walls turned art center. As we walked, people recognized me. Some asked for selfies, others just nodded in respect. I was getting used to that. But Kemi? She didn't care about any of it. She leaned in and whispered, you know, you were already enough. Before the money. Those words hit deeper than applause ever did. That night, I stared at the city lights from my window and felt something rare, stillness. I wasn't chasing, I wasn't proving. I was just living. And in that silence, I knew. This was my new chapter. It came a week later. One final message from Amanda. I wish you nothing but happiness. You deserve it. I was too blind to see your worth. But now I know. Goodbye, Dio. No anger, no begging, just truth. And this time, I replied, thank you. I wish you peace too. Take care of your heart. I sat with that for a while, letting the past finally breathe and go. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It wasn't about proving I was never boring. It was about healing, growth, knowing who I am, even when no one's watching. I deleted our old chats, then closed the app. That part of my story was over. Kemi stayed longer than planned. She moved into a short let nearby, saying Lagos was starting to feel like home again. We started building something. Not fast, not loud, but real. I brought her to my company's new office in Victoria Island. She met my team. She helped redesign the workspace with little indoor plants and soft wall colors. One evening, we were on the balcony. Same place Amanda had once called me boring. When Kemi turned and said, "Can I ask you something?" I looked at her. What if the most beautiful part of your story, she said, is just beginning? The wind carried her words like music, and in that moment I believed her. But just as I was about to reply, my phone buzzed again. A new opportunity. A big one. One that could change everything. Again. And this time I wouldn't face it alone. The message was from a global investor. They'd seen my recent interview online, heard about my startup's growth, and wanted to fly me to Dubai for a private tech summit. Expenses covered, VIP access, potential deal in the millions. I read the message twice. My hands trembled. Not from fear, but from the weight of how far I'd come. Just 2 years ago, I was jobless, dodging landlord calls, eating once a day. Now I was being invited to rooms I used to pray to just peek into. I looked over at Kemi, who was sipping tea, watching a Nollywood movie on my couch. She noticed my face. "What is it?" I handed her the phone. Her eyes widened, then slowly, a smile crept onto her face. "Dio, this is huge." I nodded. "Yeah, but only if I say yes." She walked over, held my hand, and said softly, "Then say yes. Not because you need to prove anything, but because you're ready." And for the first time, I felt like I was. The flight was smooth. The hotel, ridiculous. Tall glass windows, views of the Burj Khalifa, fruit platters waiting on the table. I dressed simply. No chains, no flash. Just my calm agbada and confidence. The room was filled with powerful people. Men in suits, women in hijabs and high heels, all shaking hands, making moves. When it was my turn to speak, I told my story. No filters, no fake smiles. "I was once told I was too boring," I began. But I wasn't boring. I was focused. They listened. Some nodded. Some smiled. When I finished, the room clapped. Slow, deep, real. Afterward, 2 investors pulled me aside. They wanted in. By the end of the summit, I signed a deal that would expand my startup across 3 countries. I called Kemi that night. "We did it," I said, tears quietly slipping down my cheek. She didn't say much, just whispered, "I never doubted you." I returned to Lagos a changed man, not because of the money, but because I had finally made peace with my past and stepped fully into my future. Kemi and I took a quiet trip to Ilorin to visit my mum's grave. I knelt by her stone, whispered all the things I had achieved and all the things still ahead. As I stood up, Kemi slipped her fingers into mine. "I'm proud of you," she said. "I'm proud of us," I replied. One evening, months later, I walked past that same cafe in Yaba where Amanda once ended it all. I stopped for a moment. Inside, a couple sat by the window, laughing, sharing a milkshake, like time had reset. I smiled and walked on, because some people are meant to teach you pain, so you can one day recognize peace. The end. If this story moved you even a little, please like this video, drop a comment about your favorite moment, and subscribe for more powerful, real-life inspired stories like this one. Your story is still being written. Don't let anyone write the ending for you.